More horror stories of how free speech is being cracked down upon in the United Kingdom. And what about the 50-year-old mortgage? Is it really the answer to our nation's housing woes and disappearing American dream? We'll look into it. A church leader in the UK says police warned him that he may face a criminal investigation because a Bible verse was displayed on the back of his camper van and could be treated as hate speech. As noted by Slay News, the story is yet another chilling example of how Britain's crackdown on free speech and religious expression has gone. Pastor Mick Fleming, he runs an independent church and an anti-poverty charity in Brunley. He said he was approached by a police officer at a gas station on October 27th. The officer warned Fleming that the scripture on his vehicle might be considered hateful if viewed, quote, in the wrong context, end quote. Are you ready for what the verse is? Well, it was John 3:16, one of the most widely known Bible verses in the world. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's the verse. And according to Fleming, the officer tapped him on the shoulder, quietly issued the warning. The officer allegedly cautioned him that if anyone complained, police would be forced to investigate and he, quote, could end up in trouble, end quote. That's what Fleming said about the exchange. And he said it left him stunned. Quote, I just thought, wow, I just wondered what people thought. Where have we moved to as a country where a bit of Christian scripture on the back of a van can be seen as hateful or spiteful, end quote. Fleming now lives in the van after giving up his belongings. He posted a video describing the encounter and asked viewers for their thoughts. He says he refuses to remove the verse, adding, quote, I'm not going to change it. Scripture is not spiteful or hateful, end quote. Well, that brings us to this next story. A 100-year-old British World War II veteran lamented in an interview on Friday that the current state of the United Kingdom is not one that he and his comrades fought for, not during World War II. Alec Pinston, well, he served a very long career in the Royal Navy, having been aboard the HMS Hampia. That was during the D-Day invasion. As people across the British Commonwealth on Sunday commemorated soldiers who died since World War I, Pinstone, he was asked on the TV show Good Morning Britain what the day means to him. And here's how he responded, quote, my message is I can see in my mind's eye rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today? No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now, end quote. The host asked what he meant exactly by the statement. And here's what he said, quote, what we fought for was our freedom. We fought for it. Even now, it's a darn sight worse than when I fought for it, end quote. Watch this.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that, though? At this point?
What we fought for, and what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than what it was when I fought for it.
Oh, Alec, I'm sorry you feel like that, because I want you to know that all the generations that have come since, including me and my children, are so grateful for your bravery and all that for service personnel. And it's our job now, isn't it, to make it the country that you fought for. You absolutely fought for.
Is it.
And we will do. We want to...
I'm so wonderful to know there are people like you that can spread the word around.
We will do.
Younger generation.
And I guarantee...
Well, that clip went viral. across social media. In fact, I played it on Friday night on Brandon House Live. And many people have commented. They've talked about, well, mass migration and how that has reshaped cities in the United States and the United Kingdom. The UK, of course, has also been an international source of scrutiny for its hate speech laws, to the point people are, well, encountering police on their doorstep for politically incorrect comments that they made on social media. In August of 2024, one police commissioner even made comments threatening to extradite U.S. citizens to be tried in the UK for breaking their hate speech laws online. Well, that's not a good look for a country that claims to be a beacon of freedom and democracy. Worthy News reports that South Korea, long seen as the democratic opposite of its authoritarian-ruled northern neighbor, faces growing scrutiny for what critics call a widening crackdown on Christian leaders and churches. While believers remain largely free to worship, the latest attention of pastors that are viewed as critical of the government, it's increasingly mirroring the practices that are seen in China or North Korea. In the Busan Detention Center, Pastor Hyun-bo, he's 62. He's founder and head of Sergei Presbyterian Church. He's been detained for more than 2 months. Son, he's a former Special Forces soldier who built a small congregation into a mega church, baptizing more than 1,000 new believers each year. Pastor Son is reportedly in fair health, but suffering from mold and damp conditions. Pastor, he was a key organizer of the United Korean Church worship event in October of 2024. This was a gathering that, well, organizers say drew perhaps as many as 1 million people. And it was reportedly the largest Christian rally in South Korea's modern history. He is charged under the Public Official Election Act for allegedly endorsing political candidates during, well, sermons. He's charged under the Public Official Election Act for allegedly endorsing political candidates during sermons. It's a charge his family says, well, is made up. It's extortion. South Korea's left-leaning government, well, they've overseen police raids on several conservative churches and offices of other Christian networks and accused them of political interference as well. Do you know about glutathione? You can't live without it. It's a naturally occurring ingredient in your body. But guess what? It starts to decrease around the age of 20. You need glutathione. There are over 165,000 studies on glutathione at PubMed. It detoxes your cells. And we know there are toxins everywhere. In fact, studies have shown glutathione may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. Check it out at swishforlife.com. You just put a small 2 caps in your mouth, swish it for about 3 minutes. Then you can swallow it or spit it out. Studies show that this is in your bloodstream within 90 seconds. It's better than an IV. That'll cost you about $250, and it's broken down. But when you swish with it, it is in your body in 90 seconds in its totality. Glutathione, you need it to live. Swishforlife.com. Swishforlife.com. Well, now it's time for our nightly Worldview Report commentary. Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte on Saturday said that the Trump administration is working on a plan to introduce 50-year mortgages for home buyers. Pulte wrote in a statement on the social platform X, quote, "Thanks to President Trump, we are indeed working on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer," end quote. It followed a Truth Social post by the president himself earlier in the day. An image of him next to a picture of former President Franklin Roosevelt. The administration, of course, that oversaw the New Deal that was established and that established also the 30-year mortgage. And that became standard in order to help citizens recover from the Great Depression. Similarly, Trump campaigned on creating affordability for the younger generation last year. But the president, of course, has faced heavy winds on the subject. And more recently, as home prices continue to hold steady at levels, well, most can't afford. Google searches for help with mortgage, those search terms shot up to their highest levels since 2009. while adjustable rate mortgages, or ARMs, have also been trending. ARMs made up about 10% of all mortgage applications in September. That's the highest, by the way, in nearly 2 years, and well above the post-2008 average of 6%. And that's according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. Yet, home prices and interest rates, they remain high, with the median household spending approximately 38.4% of their monthly income on mortgage payments. That's according to the real estate website Redfine. Well, I'm kind of skeptical, folks, when it comes to this idea of the 50-year mortgage. Unless you're a first-time homebuyer who is under the age of 30, chances are you will never own your own home outright under a plan like that. It's a long payback schedule, folks. You may end up with more affordable monthly payments, but you're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars more in interest over the life of that loan, even if you live that long. And to me, that sounds like really a new form of you'll own nothing and be happy. You're basically renting the house from a lender. So I'm not so sure I would fall for that. I think President Trump needs to come up with a better solution to the housing problem, don't you? Maybe one that involves getting regulations down. Cut the cost of what it takes to build a house. Get regulation down. You could also maybe do something about lumber prices. Those are just a few quick ideas. We need something. We need to make the American dream available. But I don't think it needs to be a banking scam like a 50-year mortgage. What are your thoughts? I know there are people on both sides of this. I've been reading their feedback throughout the weekend. What are your thoughts?